The alien woman named Kira stood tall among the crowd. Her skin glowed with a faint blue hue that pulsed with her emotions. Her 6 fingers on each hand ended in sharp claws, and her eyes were completely black without any whites. Everyone in the spaceport moved away from her, creating a circle of empty space around her, as if she carried some invisible disease. Nobody dared to look at her directly. They all knew about the Zyraxian race and their reputation. The stories said that Zyraxians could kill with a touch, that their skin secreted a poison fatal to most species in the galaxy, that they enjoyed the suffering of others, that they collected trophies from those who disrespected them. Lisa Martinez watched from her small shop at the edge of the spaceport. She sold Earth goods to homesick humans and curious aliens alike. She had heard the stories about Zyraxians too, but something about this one seemed different. The alien woman did not move with the predatory grace described in the stories. Her shoulders hunched slightly and her gaze remained fixed on the ground. When the alien approached her shop, Lisa noticed the small device clutched in her clawed hand. A universal translator common among travelers. Lisa also noticed something else. The delicate silver chains wrapped around the alien's wrists, marking her as something unexpected, a refugee. The alien woman spoke, her voice translated into flat, emotionless English. By the device, I require sustenance compatible with Zyraxian biology. The other establishments refused service. The crowd watching from a distance gasped as Lisa stepped forward instead of backing away. Many made gestures of warning, but Lisa ignored them. She had grown up in a small town in New Mexico, where her family had been treated as outsiders. She recognized the look of someone who had known rejection. "What kind of foods can you eat?" Lisa asked. "I have products from 17 different worlds." The alien woman tilted her head, surprised that the human had not fled. "I can consume proteins similar to your earthfish and certain fruits with high acid content." Lisa nodded and moved to her storage unit. She pulled out packages of preserved European sea creatures from Jupiter's moon and Martian blood oranges genetically modified to grow in the red planet's soil. The alien watched with those black eyes as Lisa arranged the items on the counter. "You are not afraid of me," the alien stated. Lisa shrugged. "Should I be?" The Zyraxian seemed confused. "My species is feared throughout the galaxy." Lisa smiled slightly. "Everyone fears what they do not understand. Where I come from on Earth, people feared those who looked different too. Sometimes the most dangerous things are not what look frightening, but what looks safe." The Zyraxian considered this. "Do all humans think as you do?" Lisa laughed. "No. We are as varied as the stars, but many of us try to see beyond appearances." For the first time, the alien's skin pulsed with a warmer color, closer to purple, then blue. "I am Kira. My homeworld was destroyed in the recent conflict. I am the last of my kind. My name is Lisa." Lisa said, "I came here 5 years ago after Earth joined the Galactic Union." Kira reached out one clawed hand hesitantly. Everyone else had refused to take payment directly from her hands, forcing her to leave credits on counters and tables. But Lisa extended her own hand palm up. Their fingers touched a human and a Zyraxian. The crowd gasped, some even screamed warnings. But nothing happened. No poison, no death. Just 2 beings from different worlds connecting. The days that followed brought changes to Lisa's small shop. Kira returned each day, sometimes to purchase supplies, but often simply to talk. Lisa learned that Zyraxians were not the monsters of legend, but a private species whose unique biology had been misunderstood. Their skin did contain toxins, but they could control the secretion, and it required intent to harm. It was a defense mechanism, not a weapon. Kira, in turn, learned about Earth and its complex history of fear and acceptance of prejudice overcome, and bridges built between different peoples. She was particularly fascinated by stories of human refugees and how they had found new homes among strangers. "Humans are unusual," Kira said one evening as she helped Lisa close the shop. "Most species, when faced with something different, react with fear and aggression. But your kind sometimes chooses curiosity and kindness instead." "Why is that?" Lisa thought. about this as she sealed containers of Earth spices. Many of us still react with fear, she admitted. But we have learned over time that different is not always dangerous. Sometimes different is just different, and sometimes different brings gifts. We never imagined Kira's skin rippled with deep blue patterns, a sign Lisa had come to recognize as thoughtfulness. I have never considered difference as a gift. The next morning when Lisa arrived to open her shop, she found a small gathering outside. Kira stood surrounded by 3 other aliens, each looking nervous and out of place. A tall insectoid creature with iridescent wings, a short furry being with 4 arms, and a gelatinous entity contained within a hovering environmental suit. These are others, Lisa Kira said, gesturing to the group. They are also alone here. They have also been turned away from other establishments. I told them about you. Lisa looked at the strange gathering and smiled widely. Welcome to Earth Goods, she said, opening her door wider. Come in, all of you. Tell me what you need. Word spread quickly through the refugee community of the small human shop where all were welcome. Lisa's business changed. She began stocking supplies for species she had never encountered, before her small space became crowded with beings from across the galaxy, talking, sharing meals, exchanging stories. The local authorities grew concerned. Space station security officers began patrolling more frequently outside her shop. Some of her regular human customers stopped coming, afraid of the strange gathering. Lisa received anonymous messages, warning her about the dangers of mixing with unknown aliens. Officer Kelly Morgan, a station security officer, came to visit officially one day, her red uniform crisp, her expression stern. She surveyed the collection of aliens browsing the shelves with barely concealed suspicion. Martinez, she said, we've had complaints, concerns about safety. Lisa continued stocking shelves. Everything here is within regulations. Officer Morgan lowered her voice. These beings, some are from hostile territories, some have unknown biologies. We can't guarantee safety. Lisa turned to face the officer. I don't need guarantees, they do. They need a safe place, and I'm providing it. Morgan frowned. This isn't Earth, Martinez. The galaxy is more complicated. Lisa looked around at her shop, at Kira helping a young human child reach a candy from a high shelf, at the various beings conversing quietly in corners. I think it's exactly the same, officer. People afraid of what they don't understand. Morgan left without further comment, but Lisa knew this wasn't the end. She had created something unusual here, something that challenged the careful segregation that existed throughout the station, something that made people uncomfortable. That night after closing, Kira stayed behind. I am causing you trouble, she said. Her skin had dulled to a gray-blue shade of worry. Perhaps I should not return. Lisa shook her head firmly. You're not causing anything. The fear was already here. You're just making it visible. And the only way to fight fear is to keep showing up. Kira's skin brightened slightly. You humans have strange sayings, but I think I understand this one. They parted, ways. Kira heading to the small quarters she had secured in the refugee sector, Lisa to her apartment above the shop. Neither noticed the shadowy figures watching from across the promenade. Neither saw the message being sent to coordinates far beyond the station's boundaries. Somewhere in the darkness of space, a ship received those coordinates. Eyes that had been searching for years narrowed in satisfaction. The last Xeraxian had been found, and soon, very soon, the hunt would begin. The hunter arrived on Starbase 7 2 standard weeks after receiving the tip. Her name was Diane Foster, and nothing about her appearance suggested danger. She looked like any other human tourist with her plain clothes and curious eyes. But beneath that ordinary exterior lay years of training and a single-minded focus. She had tracked the last Xeraxian across 12 systems, and now she was close. Very close. Diane checked into a small hotel near the commercial district and spent the first 3 days observing. She watched Lisa's shop from various vantage points, noting who came and went. She studied the security patterns of the station and mapped out escape routes. She was nothing if not thorough. On the 4th day, she entered Earth Goods as a customer. Her dark hair pulled back in a simple style, her expression pleasantly neutral. She browsed the shelves, selecting a few items of Earth candy, nostalgia items that tourists often purchased. Lisa greeted her with the same warm smile she offered all customers. "Welcome to Earth Goods. Can I help you find anything specific?" "No, thank you." "Just looking," Diane replied. Her eyes scanned the shop, searching for her target, but the Zyraxian was nowhere to be seen. Diane approached the counter to pay for her selections. "I heard this place is popular with the non-human residents," she said casually. Lisa nodded as she packaged the items. "We welcome everyone here, even Zyraxians?" Diane asked, keeping her tone light curious. Lisa's hands paused briefly. Something flickered across her face, caution. Perhaps Diane couldn't be sure. "We welcome everyone," she repeated, her voice firm. Diane smiled and paid for her purchases. She would need to be patient. The Zyraxian would return eventually. They always did. They were creatures of habit. And when she did, Diane would be ready. Kira had begun to build a life on Starbase 7 beyond her friendship with Lisa. She had secured work in the hydroponics bay, where her natural understanding of plant biology proved valuable. The supervisor, a stern woman named Carol Brown, had been hesitant to hire a Zyraxian, but the station's need for food production outweighed her concerns. "You understand these plants better than most of my human workers," Carol admitted grudgingly, after Kira had saved an entire crop of protein-rich algae from a bacterial infection. Kira's skin pulsed with pleased purple tones. "I studied biological systems before my world was destroyed. This knowledge is one of the few things I was able to bring with me." Carol studied the tall alien, her professional reserve softening slightly. "Have you considered formal certification? The station has education programs qualified. Xenobotanists are always in demand." For the first time, Kira allowed herself to consider a future beyond mere survival, a permanent position, recognized skills, a place to belong. It was more than she had hoped for when she had fled her burning world. "I would like that very much," she told Carol, her skin glowing brightly with emotion. That evening, Kira hurried to Lisa's shop, eager to share her news. The shop was busier than usual, with a mix of humans and aliens browsing the shelves. Kira waited patiently by the counter until Lisa was free. "Lisa, I have news." Kira began, her skin rippling with excited patterns. Before she could continue, the shop door opened and Officer Morgan entered, accompanied by 2 additional security officers. Their presence immediately changed the atmosphere in the shop. Conversations quieted, customers moved aside. Martinez, Officer Morgan said, her gaze sweeping over the gathered aliens. "We need to speak with you," and the Zyraxian Lisa stepped forward, her posture defensive. "What's this about officer security matter?" Morgan replied curtly. "Best discussed privately." Reluctantly, Lisa led them to the small storage room at the back of the shop. Kira followed, her black eyes wary. Once the door closed, Morgan turned to Kira. "We've received intelligence that someone on this station is looking for you." "Someone with harmful intent." Kira's skin darkened to a deep blue, almost black with fear. "Who we don't know yet," Morgan admitted. "But they've been asking questions about Zyraxians. Specifically about you." Lisa moved closer to Kira protectively. "What are you doing to find this person?" Morgan's expression remained professional. "We've increased security in this sector. Our officers are on alert." But she hesitated. "I should warn you that our jurisdiction is limited. If this is a private bounty or a vendetta, a hunter," Kira whispered, her claws curling inward. "There are those who believe that killing the last of a species brings power or prestige. Some collect rare beings, some seek revenge for imagined wrongs." Lisa looked horrified. "That's barbaric." Morgan's face remained impassive. "It's illegal on Starbase 7, she clarified. "But not in all sectors of space. We can protect you while you're here." "But," Kira understood the unspoken limitation, "but you cannot protect me forever. I am not a citizen. I have limited rights." Here Morgan nodded once. "We'll do what we can. I came to warn you both. Stay alert. Report anything unusual." After the officers left, Lisa turned to Kira, her eyes filled with concern. "You can stay with me above the shop. It's safer than the refugee quarters. Kira's skin pulsed with gratitude, but she shook her head. I cannot bring danger to your door. You have already risked much for me. They argued quietly, but Kira remained firm. She would continue her life as normal. Showing fear would only make her more vulnerable. Besides, she reasoned the station was large and secure. The hunter, whoever they were, would find it difficult to act in such a controlled environment. What Kira didn't tell Lisa was that she had expected this. She had always known that her solitary status made her a target, that someday someone would come. It was part of being the last. It was why she had spent so long in transit, never staying in one place for too long. It was why she had avoided connections, until now, until Lisa, until this place, that almost felt like it could be home. Diane Foster watched from across the promenade as the security officers left earth goods, her expression revealing nothing, so they knew someone was looking for the Xeraxian. Unfortunate, but not unexpected. It simply meant she would need to adjust her approach. She returned to her hotel room and opened a secure case hidden beneath the bed. Inside were items that would never have passed station security had they been detected. A molecular disruptor small, enough to fit in her palm, identification chips with multiple identities, a collection of toxins tailored to various species, and a specialized containment unit designed to hold a Xeraxian. Diane was not a common bounty hunter. She was a collector, for very wealthy clients who desired the exotic and the rare. And a last Xeraxian was the rarest prize of all. Her client had offered an astronomical sum, not for proof of death, but for the living specimen. In addition to his private collection of endangered beings, she began to formulate a new plan. The Xeraxian worked in hydroponics that provided possibilities. The security there would be focused on protecting the food supply, not the workers. The night shift would have minimal supervision, and Carol Brown, the supervisor, kept to a predictable schedule. Diane smiled to herself as she prepared her equipment. The security warning had made her task more challenging, but not impossible. Nothing was impossible with proper planning. And Diane Foster always planned for success. What Diane couldn't plan for was Lisa Martinez. The human shopkeeper had inserted herself into the equation in ways that Diane hadn't anticipated. The reports had mentioned a human who interacted with the Xeraxian, but not the depth of their connection, not the way the human seemed protective, almost possessive. Diane would need to neutralize that connection somehow. Perhaps a distraction. Something to keep the shopkeeper occupied while Diane completed her mission. Accessed the station's public records, searching for information about Lisa Martinez. Property records, employment history, credit status. Anything that might provide leverage. What she found made her pause. Lisa Martinez had a past more complex than her current life suggested. Former military intelligence division, decorated for actions during the Proxima conflict. Discharged honorably, but with sealed records. This changed things. Diane realized Lisa Martinez was not simply a shopkeeper with an unusual tolerance for aliens. She was potentially dangerous. Someone with training. Someone who might recognize what Diane was. Diane closed the records and considered her options. She could abandon this hunt, find another target. But the reward was too great, and her reputation would suffer if she failed. No, she would proceed, but with greater caution. The Xeraxian would be hers, but she would need to be very careful around Lisa Martinez. Very careful indeed. Kira adjusted the nutrient flow to the new batch of medicinal plants, her clawed fingers moving with delicate precision. The hydroponics bay hummed with the soft sounds of machinery and the gentle mist of water systems. The late shift was quiet, with only 3 other workers present, all focused on their own tasks in distant sections of the large facility. She had stayed late, deliberately choosing to work when fewer people were around. It felt safer somehow, though she knew it was probably an illusion. Safety was not about numbers, but about awareness. And Kira was very aware, constantly scanning her surroundings, her senses alert for anything unusual. The door to the hydroponics bay slid open with a soft hiss. Kira looked up, expecting to see Carol or perhaps one of the maintenance workers. Instead, she saw a human woman she didn't recognize. The woman wore a hydroponics uniform, but Kira was certain she had never seen her before. "Can I help you?" Kira asked, her skin darkening slightly. With caution, the woman smiled. "I'm new, just transferred from Starbase 3. She approached, extending a hand. "My name is Diane." Kira did not extend her own hand in return. Something about this human felt wrong. There had been no mention of new transfers, Carol would have told her. "I see," Kira said, keeping her voice neutral. "Where did Carol assign you to work?" Diane's smile didn't falter. Section G. The new medicinal growths. She gestured vaguely toward the far end of the facility. "I was hoping you could. Show me the system controls. I hear you're the expert." Kira's skin pulsed with warning colors, though she knew the human probably couldn't interpret them. Section G was her project. Something only Carol and she discussed in detail. This human was lying. "I'm afraid I'm quite busy," Kira said. "You should check with Carol in the morning. She can provide proper orientation." Diane stepped closer, her smile unchanged, but her eyes had hardened somehow. "I insist." Kira moved back, maintaining distance. "I must decline. I have critical work to complete." The facade dropped from Diane's face like a mask falling away. "Last Xeraxian," she said, her voice cold. "You're worth more than this entire station. Did you think you could hide forever?" Kira's skin went completely black. With fear. The hunter. She had found her just as Officer Morgan had warned. "I am under station protection," Kira said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Security has been alerted to threats against me." Diane laughed softly. "Station security? A minor inconvenience, at best." She reached into her pocket and withdrew a small device. "I've disabled the security feeds in this section." "We're quite alone." Kira assessed her options quickly. The other workers were too far away to hear a call for help. The nearest exit was behind Diane. The emergency alarm was across the room. She would need to distract the hunter somehow. "You are making a mistake," Kira said. "I am not what the stories claim. My kind were peaceful scientists, not the monsters of legend." Diane shrugged. "Client doesn't care what you were. He cares about what you are. The last, and he collects lasts. His menagerie already contains the last Vordian crystal lizard, the last flowering Jovian tree." And now she smiled coldly. "The last Xeraxian." She raised her other hand, revealing a small weapon. Unlike most weapons Kira had seen on the station, this one was clearly designed for capture, not killing. A neural disruptor, perhaps, or something designed to incapacitate. Kira moved suddenly, diving behind a large, hydroponic tank. Her heart racing. She needed to reach the emergency alarm, but more than that, she needed help. She needed Lisa. Lisa was restocking shelves when her personal communicator vibrated against her wrist. She glanced down and saw a single word flashing on the small screen: "Hunter." It was the emergency code she had given Kira, only to be used in the most dire circumstances. Lisa's military training kicked in instantly. She reached beneath the counter and retrieved the small weapon she had kept hidden since her discharge. A weapon that was technically illegal on the station, but that she had never been able to part with. She locked the shop with a quick command and headed for the door. Kira had mentioned staying late at the hydroponics bay tonight. That would be where the hunter had found her. Lisa moved quickly through the station's corridors, her mind racing. She needed to alert security, but that would take time. Time Kira might not have. Lisa made a quick decision. She tapped her communicator, linking to Officer Morgan's direct channel. "Morgan, it's Martinez. The hunter is making a move hydroponics bay. Send backup. I'm heading there now." She didn't wait for a response. Instead, she ran her feet, carrying her swiftly through the evening crowds of the station. Most people moved aside, seeing the determination on her face. Those who didn't found themselves firmly but quickly moved. Lisa reached the hydroponics sector in record time. The main door was locked, which was unusual. For this hour, she overrode the lock with her old military codes, praying they still worked. The door slid open, revealing the vast greenhouse space beyond. Lisa moved inside quietly, her weapon ready, her senses alert. The facility seemed empty at first glance. the soft lights of the growing sections creating pools of illumination amid shadows. Then she heard it. The sound of something crashing to the floor, followed by a cry of pain. That was Kira's voice. Lisa moved toward the sound, staying low, using the large growing tanks as cover. As she approached, she could make out two figures Kira cornered against a wall, her skin completely black with fear. And a woman Lisa recognized. The tourist who had asked about Xeraxians in her shop last chance Xeraxian. The hunter was saying, "Come quietly and this won't be painful. Resist," and she never finished her sentence. Lisa emerged from cover, her weapon leveled. "I don't think she's going anywhere with you." The hunter turned, surprise flashing across her face before her features settled into a cold mask. The shopkeeper. "Of course," she raised her own weapon, pointing it at Lisa. "You're interfering with a private contract." Lisa kept her aim steady and her voice calm. "You're attempting to kidnap a resident of Starbase 7. That's against about 15 different laws." The hunter seemed amused. "Laws change depending where you are, and we won't be on this station much longer." The standoff stretched between them. Neither woman willing to back down. Kira remained frozen, against the wall, her eyes moving between the two humans. "You were military," the hunter said suddenly. "Intelligence by the look of you." Her eyes narrowed, assessing. "Not the simple shopkeeper at all." Lisa didn't respond, keeping her focus and her aim unwavering. The hunter continued. "This doesn't concern you. The Xeraxian is valuable property. The last of its kind. My client pays extremely well. Perhaps we could come to an arrangement." A share of the bounty. Lisa's expression hardened. "She's not property. She's a person, and she's under my protection." The hunter sighed, as if disappointed. "I had hoped to avoid complications." She moved suddenly, her weapon discharging. A bolt of energy shot toward Lisa, who dove aside, barely avoiding it. Lisa rolled and came up firing, her weapon discharged with a high-pitched whine. The hunter ducked behind a hydroponic tank, the energy bolt hitting the wall behind where she had stood. Kira used the distraction to move sliding along the wall toward the emergency alarm. Her clawed finger pressed it, sending a wailing alert through the entire facility. The hunter cursed, realizing her time was now limited. She emerged from cover, firing rapidly, forcing Lisa back. Behind the flashing lights of the alarm, the hunter saw her opportunity. She lunged toward Kira, grabbing the alien's arm. A small device pressed against Kira's skin. Kira screamed as electricity coursed through her body, her skin flashing wildly through colors before she collapsed. The hunter began dragging her toward the rear exit. Lisa emerged from cover, seeing Kira unconscious. "No," she shouted. She fired again, her shot grazing the hunter's shoulder. The hunter stumbled but kept moving, pulling Kira with surprising strength. She reached the exit panel and punched in a code. The door began to slide open. Lisa ran forward, abandoning caution for speed. She tackled the hunter, both of them crashing to the floor. Kira's unconscious form sprawled beside them. The hunter was stronger than she looked, pushing Lisa back, delivering a sharp blow to her face. Lisa's head snapped back, pain exploding across her cheek. She recovered quickly, years of training taking over. She blocked the next blow and countered with a strike of her own. Catching the hunter in the ribs, they fought in desperate close quarters, each seeking advantage. The hunter reached for another device on her belt, but Lisa grabbed her wrist, twisting sharply. There was a crack, and the hunter cried out in pain. The sound of running footsteps echoed from the corridor. Security was coming. The hunter knew her window was closing. Fast and decisive, she slammed her head forward, connecting with Lisa's nose. Blood sprayed and Lisa fell back, momentarily stunned. The hunter scrambled toward Kira, but before she could reach the alien, a bolt of energy hit her squarely in the back. She convulsed once and collapsed. Officer Morgan stood in the doorway. Weapon raised, her expression grim. 3 security officers flanked her, their weapons also drawn. Lisa crawled to Kira, checking the alien's pulse, relieved to find it strong, though. Racing Kira, she said softly, "You're safe now." We got her. Kira's eyes fluttered open, her skin slowly returning to its normal blue. She looked at Lisa, seeing the blood streaming from her nose, the bruises already forming. "You're hurt," she whispered. Lisa smiled through the pain. "It'll take more than a hunter to stop me." Morgan approached her officers, securing the unconscious hunter. "You two," she said, looking between Lisa and Kira. "Attract trouble like nothing I've ever seen." Lisa wiped blood from her face with the back of her hand, part of our charm officer. The aftermath of the attack brought changes to Starbase. 7 security protocols were tightened. Station officials interviewed Kira extensively about potential threats. Diane Foster, the hunter, was imprisoned in the station's detention center, awaiting transfer to a federal facility. Her weapons and equipment were confiscated, revealing technology far beyond standard bounty hunter gear. Lisa's shop became something of a local sensation. The story of the human who fought a hunter to protect an alien spread quickly throughout the station. Some called her a hero. Others questioned her judgment, but no one could deny the significance of what had happened. 2 weeks after the incident, Lisa was restocking shelves when Officer Morgan entered the shop. Lisa had seen little of the security officer since that night in Hydroponics Martinez. Morgan said by way of greeting. She looked uncomfortable, as if making social calls was not part of her regular duties. Officer Morgan. Lisa replied, "What can I do for you?" Morgan glanced around the shop, noting the increased number of alien customers since the incident. "The station council met yesterday," she said finally, her voice low. They discussed the Xeraxian. Lisa tensed. What about her? Morgan's expression remained neutral. "They've granted her provisional citizenship rights, first non-human to receive that status on this station." Lisa's face broke into a wide smile. "That's wonderful news. Does Kira know?" Morgan nodded. "She was informed this morning. She also received a new work classification, Xenobotanist Level 2, with appropriate pay increase and benefits." Lisa's smile grew even wider. She deserved this. She deserved all of it. Morgan shifted her weight, looking even more uncomfortable. "There's something else you should know." The hunter. She's talking, offering information in exchange for sentencing considerations. Lisa's smile faded. "What kind of information?" She claims there's a network, Morgan said. "A group of collectors who trade in rare species living artifacts." She's given names, coordinates. Morgan paused. "The authorities are taking it seriously. Several operations are already underway." Lisa considered this. It's good that something positive might come from all this. Morgan nodded. Then her expression became serious again. "One more thing," Martinez, the council, also discussed. "You mean?" Lisa asked, surprised. Morgan almost smiled. "Almost. Your actions were technically outside protocol. Civilian interference in a security matter. Possession of an illegal weapon." Lisa winced at the last one. "I can explain." Morgan held up a hand to silence her. "They're offering you a job, Lisa." Blinked. "Station security wants to hire me." Morgan nodded. "Security consultant, specializing in non-human affairs. Your shop has become something of a neutral ground, a place where information is shared freely. The council thinks you could be useful." Lisa laughed softly. "Well, that's unexpected." Morgan's almost smile appeared again. "Think about it," she said, turning to leave. "We could use someone with your particular skill set and your particular friends." After Morgan left, Lisa sat behind her counter thinking. The offer was tempting. A chance to use her old skills again. A way to make the station truly safe for everyone, including the growing, non-human population. But her shop had become something important too. A meeting place, a sanctuary. She was still considering when Kira entered, her skin glowing with bright, happy colors. "Lisa," she called. "I have news." Lisa smiled. "I heard congratulations." Citizen Kira's skin rippled with pleased patterns. "The council said your testimony was instrumental in their decision." "That, and Officer Morgan's recommendation." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "Morgan recommended you for citizenship." Kira nodded. She said anyone who could survive a hunter attack and still show up for work the next day deserved official recognition. They both laughed. The shared danger had created an unexpected bond between the stern security officer and the alien refugee. I also heard about your job offer. Kira added, her black eyes studying Lisa closely. Will you take it? Lisa sighed. I don't know, it's tempting. But what about the shop? Kira looked around at the small store. Many beings depend on this place. It has become more than a shop. It is a symbol. Lisa nodded. That's what I've been thinking. Kira's skin shifted to thoughtful blue patterns. Perhaps there is another way, she suggested. 3 months later, Earth goods had expanded, taking over the adjacent space. The original shop remained, much as it had been selling products from Earth and other worlds. But the new section had been transformed into something else entirely. A community center of sorts with tables and chairs where beings from across the galaxy could meet, talk, share meals and information. Lisa split her time between the shop and her new role as security consultant. Her unique position as both a business owner trusted by the non-human community and a station official gave her insights that proved invaluable. Her recommendations had already led to several policy changes, making life easier for the station's growing refugee population. Kira, meanwhile, had flourished. Her work in hydroponics had expanded to include research into adapting plants from various worlds to grow in artificial environments. Her knowledge combined with Lisa's connections had created new opportunities for refugees with specialized skills. The center section of the expanded shop now featured a wall of screens displaying information in multiple languages, job listings, housing options, educational resources, a database of specialists from different species willing to serve as cultural liaisons, all created and maintained by volunteers from the refugee community. It was during a busy afternoon when the first alert came through. The screens flickered momentarily, then displayed an urgent message. A ship was approaching the station, a ship that had not responded to identification requests. Lisa noticed the alert immediately, as did several of the security officers who had taken to spending their off-duty hours at the center. She was already reaching for her communicator when Officer Morgan's voice came through the station-wide system. Attention all residents. This is not a drill. We have an unidentified vessel approaching. Defense protocols are active. Please proceed to designated safety areas and await further instructions. Lisa looked at Kira, whose skin had darkened with concern. Do you think this could be related to the hunter, she asked. Her voice low. Lisa shook her head, too soon to tell. But we should prepare just in case. She began directing people toward the station's inner sections where shielding was strongest. Security officers moved through the crowds, calm but alert, herding civilians away from the outer hull. Lisa stayed behind, helping the elderly and those unfamiliar with station protocols. Kira remained at her side, assisting a group of new refugees who didn't yet understand the station's language. They were among the last to reach the designated safety area. The large space already crowded with residents from all sectors. Lisa spotted Officer Morgan coordinating security teams near the entrance. Morgan, Lisa called, moving through the crowd. What's happening? Morgan's expression was grim. The ship is still not responding to hails. It's small, fast. Doesn't match any known configuration. She paused, and it's heading directly for Docking Bay 7, ignoring all traffic. Protocols. Kira moved closer, her skin pulsing with dark colors of fear. Docking Bay 7. That's where refugee ships arrive. Morgan nodded precisely. It's also the least defended section of the station, designed for easy access for humanitarian vessels. Lisa's mind raced, connecting dots. The hunter had talked. The collectors knew about Kira, and not just Kira, but the entire refugee community that had formed around her. The station had become known as a safe haven, which made it a perfect hunting ground. They're not here just for Kira, Lisa said, her voice tight. They're here for all of them. She gestured to the gathered refugees, a collection all in one place. Morgan's expression darkened. You think this is connected to the collectors? Before Lisa could respond, the station shuddered. Violently, lights flickered. Emergency sirens began to wail. They've breached the hull. Morgan's communicator crackled with a panicked voice. Security team down, request immediate backup. Morgan was already moving, issuing orders, dividing her forces. Lisa waited only long enough to hear which docking bay had been breached. Then she was running, Kira at her heels. Lisa Morgan's voice followed her. You are not authorized. Lisa didn't slow down. I know these people, Morgan. I know how they think. They reached the security station near the breached docking bay in minutes. The scene was chaos. 2 officers down, unconscious, or worse. The security doors forced open and moving through the corridor ahead of them. 3 figures in dark environmental suits. There, movements efficient, practiced. They carried weapons unlike any Lisa had seen before. Hunters, Lisa whispered. More sophisticated than Diane Foster had been. These were professionals. Lisa pulled Kira into a side corridor before they could be spotted. We need to warn the others, she said. They'll be heading for the refugee gathering area. Kira's skin had gone almost black with fear. I brought this danger here, she said. My presence endangered everyone. Lisa gripped Kira's shoulders firmly, looking into her black eyes. This is not your fault. These collectors, these hunters, they're the monsters, not you. We will stop them. Kira's skin lightened slightly. How there are 3 of them, and they have weapons beyond station technology. Lisa smiled grimly. They have technology. But we have something better. We have information. They don't know the station. We do. They don't know who they're hunting. We do. The 3 hunters moved through the station with practiced precision. Their environmental suits concealed their species and protected them from potential station security measures, their weapons ready, their sensors scanning for non-human life forms, their target list transmitted directly to their visors. The last Xeraxian topped the list. But there were others, nearly 30 beings of significant value to their clients. What they didn't expect was the resistance. They had studied Starbase 7's security protocols, had planned countermeasures for every standard response. But what they encountered was anything but standard. The first hunter turned a corner and found himself facing not security officers, but a Brachian refugee. The insectoid being should have been cowering in fear. Instead, it stood calmly in the corridor, its multifaceted eyes reflecting the hunter's own image back at him. The hunter raised his weapon. But before he could fire, something struck him from behind, a powerful electrical discharge that overwhelmed his suit's protective systems. He collapsed, twitching. Behind him stood Kira, her clawed hand still holding the modified tool she had taken from hydroponics. Her skin pulsed with determined purple. I told you my people were scientists, she said to the unconscious hunter. Not monsters. But sometimes science can be very dangerous indeed. Lisa emerged from her hiding place along with 2 other refugees who quickly bound the fallen hunter. That's 1, she said. 2 more to go. They moved on following the station schematic displayed on Lisa's communicator. The second hunter had taken a different route, heading toward the medical bay, where several rare species were receiving treatment. Lisa and Kira arrived. Just as the hunter was attempting to breach the sealed doors, 2 medical staff lay unconscious nearby. Lisa signaled to Kira and the other refugees with them. They split up, approaching from multiple directions. The hunter sensed their approach, turning with remarkable speed, his weapon targeting Lisa, who had emerged as the most obvious threat. Stop or I fire. The hunter said, his voice distorted through his suit's systems. Lisa held up empty hands. I'm just a shop owner, she said, keeping her voice steady. No threat to someone like you. The hunter didn't lower his weapon. You're interfering with a collection. His sensor swept over the area. These life forms are contracted for acquisition. Lisa took a careful step forward. Contracted by whom? Who's paying? You to kidnap sentient beings. The hunter's stance shifted slightly. My clients value their privacy. As do. While he focused on Lisa, Kira had moved silently along the ceiling, her Xeraxian claws allowing her to cling to the surface above the hunters. Sensors hadn't been calibrated to check above. Most species couldn't move that way, but Xeraxians could. Kira dropped, landing directly on the hunter's back, the impact sending them both to the floor. The hunter's weapon discharged, hitting the wall. The hunter struggled, powerful even under Kira's weight. But before he could throw her off, 2 more refugees emerged from hiding. A Vortian with powerful arms grabbed the hunter's weapon, while a gelatinous entity flowed over the environmental suit. Seeping into its joints, the suit's system sparked and failed. The hunter went still, not unconscious but immobilized. "2 down," Lisa said as they secured the second hunter. 1 to go. The third hunter had proven more elusive, moving through maintenance, tunnels avoiding main corridors. But Lisa had anticipated this. The station's refugees knew every hidden path, every service duct. Some had lived in these spaces before finding more permanent homes. They had set a trap. The hunter emerged into what appeared to be an empty cargo bay. According to his sensors, a group of valuable targets had gathered here, but the large space seemed deserted. The hunter moved cautiously, suspicion growing. Something wasn't right. That was when the lights went out. Plunging the bay into complete darkness, the hunter's suit automatically adjusted, enhancing his vision. But even that advanced technology couldn't help when the atmosphere was suddenly vented from the room. The hunter's suit protected him from the vacuum, but the sudden pressure change staggered him. Before he could recover, the emergency systems activated magnetic clamps engaged across the floor, capturing his metal-reinforced boots, holding him immobile. The lights returned, and the hunter found himself surrounded, not by cowering refugees, but by a ring of determined faces, human and non-human alike. Station security officers stood shoulder to shoulder with the very beings the hunter had come to collect. Officer Morgan at their center, her weapon trained on the hunter's faceplate. "It's over," Morgan said. "The other members of your team are already in custody. Your ship has been impounded and you," she smiled coldly, "are about to discover how seriously we take attempted kidnapping on this station." The crisis passed, but its effects resonated throughout Starbase 7. News of the attempted mass kidnapping spread quickly through official channels and unofficial ones. The revelation that collectors were targeting refugee populations sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Similar stations increased security. Investigations were launched into the shadowy network that traded in living beings on Starbase 7 itself. Changes were even more profound. The refugees once seen with suspicion or pity were now recognized for their courage and resourcefulness. Their quick, organized response had saved many lives. Station officials who had previously viewed the non-human population as a necessary burden now saw them as valuable. Community members. Lisa's community center officially became the interspecies liaison office with permanent funding and staff. Her security consultant role expanded to include training officers in non-human cultures and behaviors. Officer Morgan herself took a personal interest in the program, spending her off-duty hours learning about the various species now under her protection. Kira continued her work in hydroponics, her research flourishing under the station's new inclusive policies, but she also became something else. A symbol. The last Xeraxian who had found not just survival but a home, a community, a purpose. One evening, months after the hunter incident, Lisa and Kira sat together in the quiet center after hours sharing a meal, each reflecting on how much had changed. "I have been thinking," Kira said, her skin rippling with thoughtful patterns, "about what the hunters said. About being the last." Lisa looked up concerned. "What about it?" Kira's skin shifted to a color Lisa had never seen before. "A soft gold with undercurrents of green. I have accepted for so long that I am the last of my kind, that my world is gone, that my species will end with me." Lisa reached across the table, laying her hand gently on Kira's clawed one. "You've built a new life here. A good life." Kira's skin brightened. "Yes, but perhaps I have accepted too much too easily. The hunters, they found information about me. They tracked me across systems. They knew I was here." Lisa nodded, not understanding where Kira was going with this. "If they could find me." Kira continued, her voice growing stronger. "Perhaps there are others. Others like me who escaped the destruction. Others who believe they too are the last." Lisa sat up straighter. "You think there might be more Xeraxians out there?" Kira's skin pulsed with determination. "The galaxy is vast. My people were scattered among the stars before our world fell. I cannot be certain, but the possibility hung between them, powerful and fragile at once." "What would you do?" Lisa asked. "If there were others," Kira's claws curled gently around Lisa's fingers, "I would find them. I would bring them here, to this place where difference is not feared. where the hunted can become protectors, where the last can become the first. Of something new, Lisa smiled. The collectors had databases, information. They knew where to look. Kira's skin brightened further. We have the hunters, their ships, their equipment, and Lisa added, know people who can decode that information. People who owe me favors from my intelligence days. The idea grew between them, taking shape, becoming a plan not just of hope but of action. It will be dangerous. Kira said, her skin showing concern now. We would be exposing ourselves. Traveling beyond the stations. Protection. Lisa laughed softly. When has danger ever stopped us? Kira's skin rippled with amused patterns. True. They continued planning late into the night. Two beings from different worlds united by circumstance, transformed by friendship. One journey had ended for Kira. The desperate flight from a burning world, the lonely existence as the last of her kind. But another journey was just beginning. A journey of purpose, of hope, of possibility. The last Xeraxian was no longer running from hunters. She was becoming a hunter herself, a hunter of truth, a seeker of her own kind. And she was not alone. Never again would she be truly alone. She had found something she had never expected in this remote station, orbiting a nondescript star. She had found a human who saw beyond appearance, beyond fear, beyond difference. She had found Lisa Martinez. And together they had created something powerful, something the collectors with all their wealth and technology could never understand or possess. They had created a home. As the station's night cycle deepened and most residents slept, Kira and Lisa continued to plan. Their voices quiet, but filled with determination. Their future uncertain, but faced together. The hunt for other Xeraxians would begin soon. But whatever they found or didn't find, they had already discovered the most important truth. Family was not always about blood or species or shared history. Sometimes it was created in the most unexpected places, between the most unlikely beings. A human shopkeeper with a military past, an alien refugee thought to be the last of her kind, and all the others who had gathered around them, forming connections that transcended the boundaries of world and species.